Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Ripple XRP. You guys already know, I'm very bullish on this asset. I've always been talking about this for a very long time, and now we are seeing some movement into altcoins as we do see Ethereum kind of outperforming Bitcoin, but XRP hasn't been making too many moves. Realistically speaking, we are only up about 3.88%. We are peaking over the $10 point of support and also major resistance. And, nothing too crazy is happening within the PA. For anybody who's new here or doesn't know what PA means, price action essentially. So when we're talking about the price action right now on XRP, it hasn't been too strong, but I do think that the next 2 days are going to be significant, today and of course Sunday, as we do see, the monthly and weekly candle close coming in. So I'm going to be watching a lot of my altcoin holdings very closely as we do march forward on into that. I've discussed this very closely with a lot of people because when we're talking about what's going to be happening very soon, so I know there's two, or I shouldn't say two, but there's multiple people who are kind of looking at a lot of the price action on XRP and kind of watching for these major targets to be made. For example, shout out to Crypto Tony here, but he is saying, if we get an altcoin pump, be sure that XRP will be there in good old fashion. Do not sleep on this one. And he has targets being around the $5.50 range. Now, personally speaking, I think it could easily go to $10 to $15 and actually go much higher than the fifth wave that he has printed here. But it doesn't matter because when we're talking about what's going to be happening very soon in regards to the price action on XRP, I think a lot of people are going to be waiting for those $10 to $15 ranges. And I think personally, we could be seeing a little bit of a short, sell-off point between the $10 to $13 range. So that could be the high points. But nonetheless, in the next 2 months, right? Because we talk about November and December very closely on this channel, and I still believe that those are the key months for alts to really kind of move. If XRP just repeats its 2017-2018 pattern, we're looking at a very good ROI return, but it doesn't have to repeat that pattern. Now, of course, there's a lot of people, talking about some targets being like $50 to $100 plus. Like, for example, here is another tweet here coming from Crypto Bull 2020. And of course, I'm not going to say anything on people's targets. Of course, they could think whatever they want, but we do say here historical XRP data shows a minimum price of $13 and a maximum price of $70 over the next months. Now, the $70 range is most likely coming from the major like 30 to 60,000% run that it did, almost up to like 80,000% run that it did in 2016, all the way up to 2018 from those lows. That's what they're taking into accountability, that percentage-wise. But I don't think that we should be looking at it from the 2016 to 2018 fractal. I think that we should be looking at the 2017-2018 pattern from like that 20-some cent range to $3.84, which is still, roughly about 2,000%, which would lead us to about $25, realistically speaking, up to $28. So, when we're talking about a minimum price of $13, I wouldn't get dead set on the idea of $13 being the minimum. I would more so look at the $10 to $15 range more logically because, we don't have to go too high, but also think about it like this. If we do have that, 80% dropping point in the bear market, just from, $20, we're going back down to $2. So we have to watch for a lot of things in regards to that and kind of watch those percentages play out. I know me personally, I don't really get dead set on what anybody else is kind of thinking of my exit strategies because I know, if we're looking at, and I meant $4, not $2 from $20, but when we're looking at the percentages, 80% is a significant point to drop on $10, on $20, and so forth. So I'm not going to be dead set on any targets being targeted, but I will say this. I think that, the $10 to $15 range is very solid from an overall standpoint. I've always said that that is a strong point because we always look back on the past fractal levels, and I even said, at the current all-time high, being up at this $3 and like 50 some cents on Binance. Of course, it's different on a few exchanges. For example, Bitstamp has it a little bit lower, but I've always done the percentage fractals on how we we, get to those all-time highs and, pretty much what's going to be happening in the next few weeks. But I always go off of that September low because the September low has been printing pretty much a perfect pattern for a lot of these assets, especially, something like the OG laggards like XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and so forth. And when we're talking about what happened in 2017 off of those September lows, and this is where a lot of people kind of look at in regards to how high we could actually go. So if we're looking at XRP in terms of the percentage fractal levels, and we go from the September low here off of roughly the September 11th price chart, also going all the way up to around this pinpoint here, which is the topping point on January 1st. That is roughly about 2,059%. Now, if we repeat that 2,059%, which again, percentages are a little bit different at higher price targets, so of course I'm not expecting, the exact same move there. That's why I'm more so set on like $10 to like the $15 range. Of course, a lot of other people are using Fibonacci levels, and I think that works great. I think that Fibonacci levels are very underestimated in this game. I think that they're also, extremely undervalued. But when we're looking here, even if we half this percentage, from the September low to the topping point high, at $10, it's still 1,055%, which is pretty much nothing off of those September lows. And I think that, right there is actually that pinpoint. So it's around 1,100%, which I still think is very conservative realistically. And even if we go to about $15, we're still at about 1,700%. So we're still short of that about 300%. And then of course, if we go to, 2,059, we could kind of see that being around this fractal level here at around that $17.80 range, which again is it's fairly conservative when we're talking about what other coins are doing in terms of percentages. But again, you can't go off of percentages alone because they're not as realistic as doing, an actual base TA. For an example, the Elliott wave theory that Crypto Tony's actually doing here is fairly solid. I like the Elliott wave theory, but I just don't think that we, pretty much top out around $5.50. I think that we are getting to a minimum of $10 plus in my mind. But again, we pretty much watch the market and we trade the market factors instead of, trading our emotional price targets, because anybody could think that this is going to $100 plus and pretty much hold until that, but experience, holding for 3 years during the bear market. And I always stress the idea that no matter if we see, $10 or $20, we look back on the fact that even if we sold at $10, say for so we sold our entire bag at $10, XRP tops at $20. First off, never buy back if it goes higher, but I'm just saying right now, if we come down 80%, we're still below our sell-off point by almost $6 anyway. So it doesn't really matter if we sell full at $10 or not, because we're still shorting that bag, if we buy during the bear market, by roughly 60% anyway. So it doesn't really matter where we sell as long as we take profit. Taking profit is the key here. Making money is the overall goal. So don't be scared to sell just because somebody thinks it's going to $70, for an example. Most likely we will get to that $70 range when something like this happens, right? Where, we do have that massive, insane rally if Ripple does win the lawsuit, which I personally think that they do. And of course, this will happen in a bear or bull market. Now, with that, of course, are we getting closer to that nice lawsuit win? I personally think that we are closing the gap in on it. And personally speaking, we are seeing a lot of sort of news come out in a negative way on this. For an example, here we go. We do see here, Gary Gensler doesn't really care about XRP holders or any retail investors. It's ironic considering his job's main priority is to protect us. Gensler refuses to engage the retail crypto investors he claims to be defending, and his incoherent everything crackdown on the U.S. financial marketplace only strengthens the idea that his war on crypto is about furthering his career. Now, what's best for best for investors, the economy, or innovation? And of course, this has always been the base point behind this case. I think a lot of it is just kind of pushed an agenda. A lot of people are saying, even down here, never forget in 1979, Gensler joined Goldman Sachs, where he spent 18 years. At 30, he became one of the youngest persons to have made partner at the firm at the time. His worth is as much as $120 million almost. Bloomberg 2021, his interpretation of protection is very different than yours. And of course, that is the case, right? He's trying to protect these major, financial giants and these financial firms and the banking sector, of course, because they're trying to go after DeFi. And what does XRP strive to do? pretty much, be the heart and soul of cross-border payments within the DeFi space. So of course they're going to go after XRP because it does take a lot of the power away from the people. Now I just want to stress the fact that we are still going to see major gains this year no matter what. All-time high is still 248% away. Price change on the 30-day span is still up about 16.9%. So it is one of the most or the top financial service coins currently in terms of market capitalization. In fact, it's actually above a lot of these other assets. Overall, I think that this is going to move very, very fast as soon as we do get throughout the November timeframe. And I've always said back in, this time here, most of those gains did come from the December timeframe, and December 11th actually is when it started. And we'll most likely start this earlier. We'll probably start at around the middle to the end of November. I think that that's where we really kind of launch out of this massive tight consolidation chain that we've been in. It's pretty much just one massive bull flag. I know it looks like a descending bull flag for a lot of people, but it's really not. It's actually a fairly bullish pattern that we're in, almost a nice cup and handle, if you will. But we still need some validation of us kind of coming up a little bit for that to really kind of play out perfectly. But overall, I think that it still looks very, very bullish from an overall standpoint, and I still think that we will get there. And we also have a lot more things happening in this market. Like for example, today I just got my Songbird on Uphold. So a lot of things are launching in terms of the major ecosystem that they are building with Flare and stuff. Of course, we do see here the Flare Network's native token Spark will have more than just a single use case. As a governance token, Flare will allow holders to vote on changes relating to the network and help drive the direction it grows. There's also many other use cases behind Flare and the Flare Network. The Flare ecosystem grows day by day, and I'm very, very excited to see this, pretty much come to market. And I'm excited for the innovation that's going to be happening at Flare Networks, because this could technically be, as big as Ethereum, if not bigger than Ethereum, because we already know that they're pretty much focused on incredible use cases within the scene. And of course, building with, Ripple and XRP as well. I think that that's great. The connections there are solid, and I'm personally here for it, and I'm very excited to see that really, like I said, come to market. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on. If you guys do more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. If you guys do want my personal exit strategies and all that kind of stuff and how I personally trade the markets, you guys can get that at NCashOfficial.com. I also have a Crusader trading bundle pack that includes pretty much all products as well as all future products for free. So with that being said, I hope that you guys do like that. If you guys do look at that, of course you're not obligated to purchase anything on this website. But with that being said, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or beautiful night, wherever you guys are on this beautiful Nick. Peace out, guys.